Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, welcome to this episode. Today we're talking about the all or nothing age cutoff that really kicks a bunch of federal employees in the butt when they don't know and understand how these rules work and how you can use these rules to your advantage if you know them. So welcome if you are new here. My name is Dallin Hawes. It is always a pleasure to spend time with you to help you get the most out of your federal retirement and retire confident. Today, we've got a question that was submitted by one of you folks. So thank you for submitting your questions. There's a link below if you're interested in doing that, because we base a lot of our future content on these questions. So this person, this federal employee, they asked this question. They said, what is the best option for retirement if you have 30 years of federal service at age 55? Can I postpone or defer? And will I lose the chance for the SRS or the FERS supplement? These are phenomenal questions. Long story short, many of you as federal employees find yourself in this position if you started early in your 20s as a federal employee. As you know, you might hit 30 years of service before you're actually eligible to retire. And that's why I referenced an all or nothing cutoff that really kicks a lot of people in the butt. So long story short, this federal employee, his question is, hey, I've got 30 years of service. I've been at this a long time. I'm age 55. Can I retire? Can I get a pension? Do I have to defer? Do I have to postpone? Do I still get the first supplement? How does this stuff work for me? So we're going to dive right in and make sure you understand the nuances of this for you. Okay, so first things first, we have to understand what rules we have to hit, what eligibility requirements we have to hit to be able to retire and get a full pension as a federal employee. And these are the main rules, okay? First, if you have 30 years of service, you cannot retire with a full retirement with all your benefits until your minimum retirement age, your MRA, which is between 56 and 57. For you younger folks, it's going to be 57. It's based on your birth year, but more and more people hitting it are going to be 57 coming up here in not too long at all. So a long story short, for this federal employee who's 55, he has not hit his MRA yet. He has not gotten there. So he's got 30 years. That's great, but he cannot retire and get a pension right away. And if he does leave the government right now, he could get a pension later, but he would not be able to keep his health insurance later. That's just how the rules are set up. So for this gentleman, this lady, whoever submitted the question, for those that are in this situation, if you want to keep some of your most important benefits, like your health insurance, maybe your life insurance, dental vision, those sort of things, then you're gonna want to keep working at least till your MRA, again, which is age 56 to 57, depending on your birthday, getting closer to 57 every single year. So that's the first thing we have to understand. Now, if you're older than your MRA, let's say you're 60, all you need is 20 years to get a full-blown retirement. At age 62, all you need is 5 years. Okay, so the older you get, the fewer years of service you actually need to get a full-blown retirement. But again, your MRA is that all or nothing age cutoff that if you're not there, there's really not a lot you can do to keep a lot of the benefits. Now, this gentleman, this lady who submitted the question, they referenced something that may be a potential option for them. They said, hey, do I have to defer or postpone? So let's break that down. Long story short, if you want to leave the government before you hit the requirements that we talked about, whether it's your MRA in 30 years, age 60 and 20 years, 62 and 5, you certainly can. You can leave the government before then, but there's often penalties, okay? There's penalties for doing that. For example, if you are younger than your MRA, if you're younger than 56, 57, then the only type of retirement you're eligible for is what they call a deferred retirement. Now, in the person's question that asked this, they say deferred or postpone. Just so you know, in the federal government, those two words sound similar, but they are so different. Deferred and postpone are two drastically different things with different benefits. Deferred retirement is something very specific, and postponed retirement is something very specific as well. So you want to make sure you understand the differences, but here's the summary. A deferred retirement is the type of retirement that you can get before your MRA. So in this situation, this person will be able to retire at age 55 with 30 years. They would get a deferred retirement, which means they would not get a pension. They won't get a pension until their MRA. So they leave at 55, and let's say their MRA is 57, they wouldn't get a pension until 57. And when they're not getting a pension, they cannot be on their health insurance. They can't keep any of their insurance into retirement. And once their pension starts, they can't restart it. It does not come back. So with a deferred retirement, so basically retiring before your MRA as a traditional FERS employee, there's no way you can take your insurance with you into retirement. So you're going to need a backup plan for insurance to make sure if you're planning to do something like that. Now, a postponed retirement is different. That has different rules. I'm not going to dive into it too deeply. I've got articles on that and a whole video on that. I've got a whole video actually on the differences between deferred retirement and postponed retirement if you want to check that out, okay? But long story short, in this situation, if you're younger than your MRA, the only type of retirement you're eligible for is a deferred retirement, okay? So that is, hopefully that's clear. Again, if you have more questions, there is a link below to submit those. So in the future, we can definitely get it. Now, the next piece of this person's question was the FERS supplement. Can I still get the FERS supplement? The answer is no. For you to get the FERS supplement, again, you have to meet those eligibility requirements we talked about. 30 years of service at your MRA or age 60 with 20 years. Those are the two things that you have to hit to get the FERS supplement, okay? The FERS supplement, again, I've got a whole video on what that is. If you're not familiar with what that is, go back to my website, hawesfederaladvisors.com. You can search by topic up at the top, and there's everything you might need to have a successful retirement as a federal employee. So definitely check that out. Now, with all this being said, there's one exception, okay? There is one type of retirement that you can actually get before your MRA, and you can get a pension right away. You don't have to wait. And you can keep your health insurance and keep all the other insurance that you'd like, right? There is. However, there's some catches. And this type of retirement is what they call an early out or a VERA, V-E-R-A, Voluntary Early Retirement Authority. Okay, that's what it stands for. Long story short, not everyone gets this opportunity. Every now and then you might have experienced this in your agency. Every now and then, an agency will offer what they call a VERA, an early out, basically saying, hey, we're trying to get people off the payroll. We want to downsize. We want to get people off so it doesn't cost us as much in payroll expenses. We're offering people the opportunity to retire early. If you are offered this sort of thing and you're eligible, then you potentially can retire before your MRA and keep all the benefits that you really like. However, again, it's not offered to everyone. And even if it is offered, let's say at your agency, they may not accept your application if you're a valuable employee in a valuable position. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that is the summary. Again, your MRA is that all or nothing age that is really hard to get around. So consider working until your MRA, or maybe let's say, I know some people, they leave the government and let's say 50 years old, and then they come back to the government later to then retire after their MRA, and that is a way to do it as well, as long as you make the numbers work for you. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any further questions, again, there's a link below to submit those, and we will cover them next time. Thanks for spending time with me today. I'll see you next time.